Welcome back to the lecture series on circuits and networks. This is the 13th lecture of module 1, and by this video we are starting the AC network theorems. And I hope everyone viewed the last video, that is lecture 12. In that video we were detailedly discussing about the basic components L and C and its behavior, how we are representing XL and XC, why J operator is there with XL and XC, why we are using plus J with XL and minus J with XC, and all those things. It is really required, really required for this video. And also I am requesting you to watch our basic electrical videos with RL, RLC and RC series circuits. That the link is also given in the description. So if you are clear with these basics, that is the lecture 12 of this video, this lecture series, and lecture from basic electrical video about RL, RC, RLC series networks. This is the thing that will make your base very clear, like your base will be clear as crystal clear. Then only you can achieve somewhat the speed that we require in the AC network analysis, because already we have completed all the theorems in DC analysis, and now if you are taking that much time for analyzing all the theorem in AC, it is not practically possible. So that we are doing the analysis in a somewhat English with some more speed. We are covering all the theorems. So in today's lecture I am planning to have 4 theorems, that is Thevenin theorem, Norton theorem, superposition theorem and source transformation theorem in just 1 hour. So before going into this lecture, I request you should have the knowledge of basic RLC components, and also you should have the basic knowledge of network theorems, because statement and its proof, everything we had completed in previous lectures. So we can go in detail to the statement and all. So before coming into the AC network analysis, at least you should refer these theorems in the DC portion, because the theorems are almost there is not much changes while coming from AC to DC. So that you should refer the theorems that you already learned in the area of DC network analysis. Then we can move really fast. Okay, now network theorem in AC. First, it is source transformation theorem. Okay, what was the statement of source transformation theorem? For any linear active bilateral network consisting number of elements and voltage source, current source, etc., a voltage source in series with a resistor can be replaced by, yes, think, a voltage source in series with a resistor can be replaced by a current source in parallel with the same resistance, and vice versa. That is, if a current source in parallel with it can be, a current source with parallel with a resistance can be replaced by a voltage source in series with the same resistance. And what is the relation that we have to keep while moving from voltage source to current source, or from current source to voltage source? What is the relation? The relation is very simple. We have to follow Ohm's law. V is equal to IR. If you are transferring I to V, you should multiply I with R, then you will get the value of V. Or if you are transferring from V to I, you have to divide V by R, then you will get I. Like that, you have to follow Ohm's law also. And the value of resistance will be same in both cases. But what is the difference while we are applying the same source transformation theorem in case of AC? Nothing changes. In AC, we have to consider inductor plus capacitor. So with resistance, reactance also come. Square root of R square plus X square. Resistance square plus reactance square. What is that? Yes, what is that? Impedance. So in terms of AC, you can say like a resistance or ohm. Simply you can simply say resistance, because resistance is no more existing in AC, because in AC resistance or reactance may come. So simply we have to say impedance. In some case, if our resistance is 0, impedance is simply equal to reactance, and if reactance is 0, impedance is simply equal to resistance. That is another case. But anyhow, in statement you have to say like impedance. You are not permitted to say resistance. Okay. So please see the question. We can directly move into questions. Okay, in this question we can see a source 2 cos 2 theta, 2 cos 2 t, 2 cos 2 t. Okay. What is the standard form of representing a AC source? Vm sin omega t, or it may be cos also, Vm cos omega t, sin or cos that we can use. Vm sin omega t or Vm cos omega t. Anyhow, what is omega or what is Vm? These two things are given in the condition in this question. What is Vm? Vm is nothing but it is 2. 2 is the Vm. And omega is omega t. Omega t is the standard form. So 2 is omega. 2 is omega means omega is 2 pi f. We have to use that omega in calculating XL and XC. So solution. You have to take R plus L plus C. R plus L plus C is is not like just scalar sum, because it is not the case of DC. You have to take vector sum. So if you are preparing notes, you have to mark vector R plus vector L plus vector C. So vector sum of XL, XC and R should be taken. So R plus L plus C, we are not going to directly adding R and L and C, because R is in ohm, L is in Henry, C in farad, like that. So we are converting everything into ohms parameters with unit ohm. So L should be converted to XL, C should be converted to XC, and you have to take the vector sum of that R, XL and XC. And we all know that R is we don't have to consider R as a vector, because it's okay. In some case you can consider R vector R, because if you are representing in a phasor diagram and you are taking the result of R and X, you have to consider it as vector R and vector S. But this angle will be always 0. That is the case. You can refer the RLC or RC or RL series networks for that. So now you have to find what is the Z, because here 2 ohm is given, 2 Henry is given, 0.25 farad is given. So these values are not in ohm, these are in their own units. So you have to convert first X to XL, sorry, L to XL and C to XC. So R is equal to 2 ohm, that is given. XL is equal to omega into 2 pi f omega. You don't consider this J now, I will tell. Okay, this is J. In the last class I already discussed this thing. You have always you have to take plus J with XL and minus J with XC. That is the simple method. Or you can calculate the magnitude of XL and you can draw the phasor diagram. Now then you can clearly understand why plus J is coming. But that much detail is not needed. Whenever you are calculating XL, please put plus J. And whenever you are calculating XC, please put minus J. That's enough. So XL is equal to L into omega. Value of L is 2 and value of omega is also 2. So 2 into 2 into J, that is 4J. And XC is equal to 1 by omega C into minus J. We have to use minus J because angle of C is minus 90. Okay. So that is 1 by 2 into 0.25 into minus J, that is minus 2J. So XL is equal to plus 2J, XC is equal to minus 2J and R is equal to 2 ohm. Now, simply, Now simply, you can simply sum these things. XL is equal to 2, XC is equal to 4J plus 4J, XL is equal to minus 4J. The easiest method is you can just sum these all things. So 2 plus 4J minus 2J. The entire impedance will get, because all are in vectors. 2J is a vector. Resistance 2 is not simply 2, it is 2 angle 0. You can take 2 also, because in last class we discussed if a vector is having 0 degree and 0 degree in polar form, it is angle r angle 0 or 2 angle 0. If you are converting it to rectangular form, you will get 2 cos 0 plus j2 sin 0. Okay. So you can refer the previous lecture. Okay. Then you will get 2 only. That's why 2 is not a scalar, it is also a vector. And so you are directly summing 2 plus 4j minus 2j. What you will get? 2 plus 2j plus 4j minus 2j will give 2j. So 2 plus 2j is the resultant impedance. That is the easiest case. And if you want the details for concept, if you are interested in concept only, you can see this case, because R is 2 ohm, that lies in 0 degree, and XL, that lies in 90 degree, and XC is, what is the angle of XC? Okay, anyhow, if you are having doubt with these things, this is the concept of RLC series network. Don't get confused to the last case where I explained angle of XC is equal to. In that case, I have already explained that is some different case. We are considering angle of XC, like angle of, we are determining V and I, dividing V by I, and by that way we are getting angle of XC as minus 90. That's why it appeared minus J. That is a different case. This is the case of RLC series network. You please refer RLC series network if you want this phasor diagram. So R will be in x-axis, XL will be in positive real axis, and XC will be in negative. XL will be in positive imaginary axis, and XC will be in negative imaginary axis. So if you are taking like this, you know XC, value of XC is 2j. Value of XC is minus 2j. So you have to draw it in negative real axis, because this is the minus j axis. This is the minus j axis. And value of XL is plus 2j. This is the positive axis, positive imaginary axis. So you have to, why you are not writing 2j? Instead of that, you are simply written 2. That is the case. The value, magnitude is 2, and its phase representation is j, because already you drawn that XL in j axis, then don't need to specify j also. So 2j, that is drawn in positive axis, and minus 2j, that is drawn in negative axis. So what will be the difference? In positive axis, positive imaginary axis, bigger value is there. In negative imaginary axis, value is somewhat lesser. So the resultant will be XL minus XC towards positive axis. That's why I am giving plus j. If you please think, if XC is greater, what happened? Suppose XC is 4 and XL is 2. What happens? The resultant will be appearing in negative imaginary axis. And that the value, the magnitude of resultant will be again 4 minus 2. But it is in negative imaginary axis. So you have to give minus j into 2. Like that. So you will get XL minus XC here, that is plus 2j, and 2 ohm is here. So its resultant you can find in parallelogram rule. This is the resultant. Here it is XL minus XC into j, that is nothing but 2j, and here it is 2 ohm. So its resultant, you can use parallelogram law, or simply it is the resultant of vector 2 plus vector 2j. What is the answer? 2 plus 2j. You can simply write 2 plus 2j in vector form. Okay. So this is the case. If you are not that much enthusiastic to analyze all the phasor diagram in background, what is the simple thing? You can just sum these things. You can take R plus XL minus XC into j. or you can just simply, this is one way, r plus xl minus xc into j, this is one way that we are getting from phasor diagram, or otherwise you can just simply sum 2 plus 4j minus 2j. Okay, so that will give 2 plus 2j. Then v is equal to I into z. Z is 2 plus 2j. So v is equal to I into z. I is 2 angle 0. Why I am taking I as 2 angle 0? Why I am taking I as 2 angle 0? Because I is 2 cos 2t. Vm is 2. Magnitude is 2. Maximum magnitude Vm, Im is 2, and it is a cosine waveform. So you are taking I as a reference for the time, and so that's why you are taking I angle 0. Okay, you are multiplying that with 2 plus j2. Then you will get 5.65 angle 45. Okay. I hope everybody know how to do this calculation in calculator. You can take complex mode. In complex mode, you will get angle, j, or everything. So if you are using an advanced calculator of KC or some other companies, you can directly use these things without having conversion from rectangular to polar and all. In some calculator, you have to convert everything into polar or everything into rectangular and then do the multiplication. That is also there. But in majority of calculators, you can directly put 2 angle 0 into 2 plus j2. Then they will give 5.65 into angle 45. In that calculator, if you are pressing shift equal to, you will get that same thing in, this is 5.65 angle 45 is polar form. You will get the same thing in rectangular form also. They will convert it, calculator will convert it. Anyhow, now it is clear, the magnitude of voltage is 5.65 and angle of voltage is 45. So what was the basic current? The current was I cos 2t and you took it as 0 degree. So you should be clear about this. I 2 cos 2t plus 0, because here you are taking 2 angle 0. You are taking it as a reference. So its angle omega t plus theta, that is 0 degree. So what will be the voltage waveform? Voltage magnitude is 5.65. So here also 5.65 cos 2t plus that angle of voltage is 45 degree. That is the case. Or simply you can stop where here itself 5.65 angle 45 degree. That is also correct, but this is more correct if you are bringing that voltage also into the standard form of the current wave. So now I converted the current source in parallel, current source with a parallel impedance to a voltage source with its series impedance. You can draw the circuit, it's not there. You can draw the circuit with a voltage source and series impedance 2 plus j2. Now this is the second question. Find current using, current means here you can see, this is the I. Find the I using superposition theorem, Thevenin theorem, Norton theorem. Okay, it's somewhat a bigger question, but it's very interesting question. I'm using same question for 3 theorems. Then this is a way, or this is an approach for solving or for covering more theorems in a short time. And if more needed, we will solve some more problems also. But anyhow, I'm trying to attempt all the 3 theorems with a short time. Okay, first of all, please check the circuit. There is 2 sources, one voltage source and one current source. Both are AC source, because you can see this symbol of alternation. And plus minus, and whenever with this, sometimes the plus minus will be inside the circle, or sometimes the plus minus will be outside the circle. Notation may change. Anyhow, plus minus indicates a voltage source, and the round symbol indicates it is a dependent or independent voltage source. And on the other side, current source also, it is an independent current source, and as the symbol is given, as the arrow mark is given, it is a current source. As there is an alternating symbol, it is a AC current source. And there is one resistance 2 ohm and one reactance J2. Why J is given? Is it now is it the value of inductance or inductive reactance? Whenever J is given, it is the value of inductive reactance. So its unit is ohm. Its unit is not farad. And 3 is a simple resistance. Okay, and minus J1. Again, minus J is with XC, capacitive reactance. So minus J1 is a capacitor, and that value is not the value of capacitance, it is the value of capacitive reactance. And there is 1 ohm resistor. Okay, no problem. Now we'll discuss superposition theorem. So basically, what was the statement of superposition theorem? In a linear active bilateral network consisting number of sources and elements, like in case of AC, you have to say elements like resistance, impedance, reactance, etc., or resistance, impedance, capacitance, etc. The effect of current or voltage in any branch is the sum of the effect while considering each sources independently by suppressing all the other sources with their internal resistance. So in this problem there is 2 sources. So okay, 2 sources. Okay. Initially you have to consider any of the one source. So if I am considering the voltage source 10 angle 0, I have to short circuit the current source. Because why I am short circuiting? Because what the theorem says, if you are considering one source alone, you have to suppress all the other source with its internal resistance. So what is the internal resistance of a current source? What is the internal resistance of a current source? It is infinity. So you don't have to short. It was my mistake. You don't have to short. You have to open that current source. And if you are considering the current source 5 angle 30 alone, then you have to suppress the voltage source 10 angle 0. Suppress the voltage source means you have to replace it with internal resistance. Internal resistance is 0. So you have to replace by a short circuit, like that. Like that we have to consider two cases. Suppose if you are having a dependent source, what happens? You cannot suppress that dependent source. It should be there in the figure like an resistor or inductance. It will be there in all the cases. Okay, such a problem we will discuss later also, and there is problems in the DC network analysis with superposition theorem. So if you are having any doubts, please refer that. Okay, now I am considering the 10 volt source alone, 10 angle 0 is alone. So that I am suppressed the current source. Suppressed mean I had opened or replaced with its internal resistance or replaced with infinite resistance. Anyhow, the current source is open now. Now I am calculating the current I in the branch of 3 ohm. This is the I, and I have named the I as I dash because I dash indicates current in case 1. Case 1 is the case where 10 angle 0 is considered. Okay, now as this other side is open, what happened? As this side is open, what happened? Yeah, no current will pass to this way. Current from the 10 angle 0 voltage source will pass like such a path, will follow such a path. It will not pass to the right-handed side or the right side loop. There is no path, it is open circuit. So simply in the present path, there is 3 components in series. One is resistance, other one is also a resistance and an inductance. So 2 plus 3, that will give 5. So 5 is a vector. Be confident, 5 angle 0. You can say it is vector. You can directly sum that 5 with other vector J2. So what will be the impedance? 5 plus J2. So total set of the path, total impedance of the path is 5 plus J2. You can see in the red ink. Then I dash is equal to voltage by impedance. 10 angle 0 by 5 plus J2. The calculator will give you the answer 1.852 angle minus 21.8. Okay, hope it is very clear. Now in the case 2, I am going to considering the current source alone. We'll see. Yeah, now I am considering the current source of 5 angle 30 alone. And also I am suppress the voltage source. Suppressing the voltage source means you have to replace the voltage source with its internal resistance. What is the internal resistance? 0. Suppressing with 0 or replacing with 0 means you have to short circuit. Okay, now you can see this is the current 5 angle 30 passing in such a path, and at this junction the current will splits into two paths. One path is I double dash and other path will pass like this, and both will join at this junction. So whenever current divides in parallel paths, you have to apply current division rule. Which are the two parallel paths? In one parallel path, the only component is 3 ohm, and you have to find the current passing through that path. And in this case, in the second case, I have given a name I double dash, because I of case 2, that is I double dash. So I double dash is current division by if you are applying current division rule, it is main current into resistance of opposite branch divided by total resistance. What is the resistance of opposite branch here? This is the opposite branch, and its resistance is 2 plus j2. So 5 angle 30 into 2 plus j2 divided by total resistance 2 plus j2 plus 3, that is nothing but 5 plus j2, and the calculator will give you the answer 2.6 angle 53.1, that is I double dash. Now according to superposition theorem, you did two cases by considering two sources independently, and you are going to sum, or you are going to mix these two effects, or you are going just sum I dash plus I double dash. That will give the net current I. In both the case, direction of current was same. That's why you can just simply sum. If direction was opposite, you may have to take the difference. So I dash plus I double dash, that will give you can use calculator in this case also. That will give 3.58 angle 23.25. 3.58 angle 23.25. Answer is, so please memorize the answer, because you have to check or you have to validate in the other cases also, because we are considering the same problem for three theorems. Okay, answer is 3.58 angle 23.25. Next is Thevenin theorem. So in Thevenin theorem, things are similar like in DC case also. We have to just recap that theorem. What was Thevenin's theorem? In any linear active bilateral network consisting of number of voltage sources and a number of elements, we can replace it with a simple equivalent circuit with a single voltage source in series with a single resistance, and the voltage source is VThevenin and the resistance is RThevenin. And VThevenin is nothing but the voltage that appearing across the open circuited load terminals. And Thevenin resistance is nothing but, what was Thevenin? It is the resistance, equivalent resistance that we, with respect to the open circuited terminals, by suppressing all the sources with its internal resistance. But what is the difference from Thevenin theorem if we are applying in a AC circuit? Everything is same, but here in components we have to consider, not only we have to consider resistance, but we have to consider resistance, inductance and capacitance. That's why the term Thevenin is no more significant, because with resistance, inductance and capacitance, the new term is Z, impedance. Thevenin is significant. That is the one and only difference. Now we can solve the problem. So once more, this is our basic question. And which is the load branch? If you are applying Thevenin's theorem, we want to find the current through this branch. So we have to consider this 3 ohm as a load branch. Okay, we have to consider this 3 ohm as a load branch. Okay. So in Thevenin theorem, first step is we have to remove the load and make the circuit open circuited. So I had removed the 3 ohm branch, and I am going to consider the case to find the Z Thevenin. So this is the terminals, this is the reference terminals for finding Z Thevenin. That is, you have to consider that the current is starting from this terminal and it is passing like that and like this, and it will return back to the negative terminal. So the reference terminals are identified. It is nothing but the load terminals, and also we have to suppress the sources with its internal resistance. So voltage source is suppressed, means R is 0. Here you can see a short circuit, and current source suppression is suppressed, means you have to replace the current source with infinity. So you can see an open circuit here. So this is the case. Now if you are applying a voltage source here in between these terminals, what is the equivalent resistance or what is the resistance offered by the circuit against the flow of current? So current is starting from this terminal. No current will pass to this path because it is open circuit. So entire current from this terminal will pass like this and will return to this terminal. So what is the Z Thevenin? It is very simple, 2 plus J2, nothing else. 2 plus J2, that is the Z Thevenin. Okay, now we are going to find V Thevenin. For V Thevenin, you are not permitted to suppress any sources. All the sources should be there, all the components should be there. Just you have to find the voltage across the open circuited terminals. You have to just find V Thevenin. So for finding V Thevenin, okay, I am considering purely the left side loop. But for finding the left side loop, we have to think, or we have to consider some case, because we can isolate like that. All the loops are there, but for the time being, for getting V Thevenin, you have to consider either the left loop or the right side loop. But effect should be there, because here it is a series path like this. It is a series path. No other parallel paths are there. It is a series path. In the series path, there is a voltage source and current source. In the series path, there is a voltage source and a current source. This is the beauty of the circuit. So which value you have to consider? Current due to voltage source or current due to current source? If you are having doubt, you can apply superposition theorem in this case. Now it will be very clear. If you are applying superposition in this case, you can simply say, while considering 10 angle 0, this should be open circuited. So no current will be passing. And while considering this source should be short circuited. So the current will be current from this source. So if for your understanding, I have explained superposition theorem and all. Anyhow, if in a series path, if a voltage source and current source is there, the value of current is purely the value of current source. Because a current source is saying that this much current is passing through it. And if it is a series path, then there is no more question, because in a series path, current will be same throughout the path, and that current will be same as the value of the current source. If you are having any doubt, once more, please apply superposition theorem in that question. So the value of current is, what was the value of current source? Of 5 angle 30. Okay. The value of this current source is 5 angle 30. It is not there. Please write here 5 angle 30. These 5 angle 30 will pass through all the components. So if you are applying KVL purely in this loop also, you need the value of that current, because in this 2 ohm and J2, you need current's value. Because for applying KVL, if it is a component, you have to multiply its current value into resistance. Then only you will get voltage. So that you need that current value. So in this case, we can see I am concentrating on the left loop alone. It's a voltage source 10 angle 0, and here it is V Thevenin, again a voltage source. How you get the polarity? Because V Thevenin's polarity is just same as the voltage source polarity. And one more question, which is very, very important. Why I am marking minus here? Normally, if I am having a voltage source here, current will be coming from this direction, and this polarity will be plus. But here, that polarity is minus. Why? Because in this circuit, current is coming from this side. So current is entering at this point, it will be plus. And for the resistance also, current is entering at this point, so that will be plus. That is the case. So be very careful while applying KVL. Plus minus sign for any inductor, capacitor, resistance should be given based on the direction of current. If it is a case where only a voltage source is present, you can take that current is coming outside from the plus terminal. But in this case, we are having a current source in series, so you can depend the voltage source for assigning the polarity. You have to take, you have to believe totally, or you have to depend totally on current source for marking the polarity. So now I am applying KVL in this direction. You can apply opposite direction also. Anyhow, now I am applying in this direction. It is minus 10 angle 0, minus 2 into current. Current is 5 angle 30, minus 2 into 5 angle 30, minus J2 into 5 angle 30 plus V Thevenin is equal to 0. You can check the equation. Is it clear? Minus 10 angle 0, minus 2 into current, that is 2 into 5 angle 30, minus J2 into current, J2 into 5 angle 30 plus V Thevenin is equal to 0. Now V Thevenin is equal to 19.31 angle 45 degree. So now we got V Thevenin and Z Thevenin. Everything is clear. Now we are having both the components for constructing an equivalent circuit. V Thevenin is here and R Thevenin is also obtained. So I am mixing V Thevenin with Z Thevenin in a series path. This is up to this. The red area is the equivalent circuit, and I connected the branch circuit back. The removed load terminal is connected back. And this is the current I. So I will be voltage by total impedance. So 2 plus J2 plus 3 that is 5 plus J2. So current is equal to 19.31 angle 45 divided by 2 plus J2 plus 3. And the answer is again 3.52 angle 23.2. So it is verified. The same answer you got in superposition theorem also. Now it's time for going to Norton theorem. So what is the advantage if you are performing Norton's theorem just after Thevenin's theorem? Advantage is simple, because everybody know that Z R Norton was R Thevenin. Like similarly, Z Norton is equal to Z Thevenin. So in the last case, we determine Z Thevenin as 2 plus J2. So Z Norton will be always 2 plus J2. And now I am going to find in Norton's theorem we need what are the things we require for constructing a Norton equivalent circuit. It is a current source in parallel with Zn, Norton impedance. In Thevenin's theorem, it is a voltage source in series with Z Thevenin. In Norton theorem, it is a current source In in parallel with Zn. So In is nothing but, everybody knows that In is nothing but it is the current that passing through the short circuit placed at open circuit at low terminals. So actually this was the low terminal. Previously we were having a 3 ohm resistor here. Now I removed that resistor for making the circuit open terminal. Load is open terminal, open circuit at low terminals. And for finding In, I am placing a short circuit across the terminals. I am placing a short circuit across these low terminals. And this current's value is In. How we will find In? It is very simple. Now we can see one current is coming from this side. I am marked that current as I2. And some other current is coming from left side, that is nothing but I1. So In is nothing but I2 plus I1. Simply KCL. I2 is source current, 5 angle 30 itself, because this is the path. I2 is nothing but 5 angle 30. And I1, current from voltage source. Current from voltage source, how we can calculate this current? How we can calculate this current? Because this is my question. If you are calculating I1, we have to consider the entire resistance. But in this case, you don't have to consider the entire resistance. What is the reason? Please think. I am saying that for finding I1, you have to consider only 2 plus J2. What is the reason? Because you have to think up to which portion this I1 will pass. If this I1 will pass to this circuit also, you have to consider minus J1 and 1. But I1 will not pass to the right side because it is a short circuit here. If you are having a simple short circuit, why you have to go to the right side and you have to face more opposition? You don't need to go to the right side. That is the case. So now I1 will have to follow this path only because it is a short circuit. It will not go to the other side. So that I1 will depend only on 2 and J2. This is the path of I1. So value of I1 is